Hello YouTube, have a wonderful day. I have here now a beautiful jungle tier list on best champions in the jungle. You can also skip to the end to see the full tier list already when I'm almost finished. You can also watch it slowly. I've put some timestamps as well on every single champion. I'm gonna put my opinion on how strong I think it is with the new feats of strength, the new season and everything combined. Enjoy the video, and if you're interested in coaching, just DM me on Discord. I wish you a wonderful day.
My blade is yours.
All get your blankies, because I'm going to make a jungle tier list now. A lot of things changed. A few things didn't change at all. And I'm just gonna put my opinion on which junglers are gonna be the strongest now in this new season. There's now the feats of strengths, there's now Atakan, Baron spawns later. There were some very broken junglers before, and now I'm gonna just explain my thoughts. I've played already a decent amount of games on this new season, what I think is gonna be broken, also what I've seen already is pretty broken. Hope this helps you. Maybe this helps you even to pick up on new champions, maybe the champions that are Z tier, which I would recommend to play because they're generally speaking just broken. And don't mind the cam if it's so fucking bright. I don't know what happens here, but it's really bright in my room as well. Okay, this is of course not 14.22. This is the new season, very up to date. Everything is yeah, up to date. So we're gonna start with the Z tier, what I think is the most broken, and that starts of course with Skarner. Skarner has been Z tier before, and now he is even stronger in this new patch. I don't know what Riot Games is thinking or smoking, but I would recommend to just spam Skarner for free LP. Why? Skarner wants to skirmish, especially in the mid game, when he has heart still finished, and he wants to have even numbers fights. That's always what Skarner wants. In solo queue, that's not always easy, especially in lower elo, so Skarner is better the higher elo you go. Regardless, if you find a way to have at least 3v3 fights, 4v4 fights, then as I said, you will always just win, because you can stat check anything. Your champion is just from this basic stats straight up stronger than other champions. Let's say you play against Lee Sin, Master Yi. You're just straight up just taking them, hitting them against the wall. Now they're half HP. You still have ult, you still have your damage reduction. You're straight up a monster. So what I would recommend you to do if you enjoy the champion, learn him, pick him up, and abuse him. I also don't think that Riot Games will nerf him to the ground. If they nerf him at max, he will go down to S tier. I don't think they will even put him the lower to A tier. I've just finished my unranked to master series on Lee Sin, and I think the champion is really, really decent. He also fits very well in the new season because you want to skirmish a lot. Let me get this clear. In the new season, first blood is important. So every champion that is strong early in the game is already stronger than before. First blood is important because of the feats of strengths. Feats of strengths are, generally speaking, really nice to have. It's not insta-game winning, but it's a very high win rate. I've seen stuff like 70% win rate. So you want to always have a champion that is good in skirmish, that is pretty strong early on, and that can fight well in numbers, so at team fights or good skirmishes, to get objectives. Lee Sin is also one of those, and he was before A tier. Now I'd rate him A+ to S-. But because they're stronger champions, I'm gonna put him in A tier. Actually, let's put him in S tier, and let's say left to right matters. That's also just remember, left to right matters on the entire tier list. Next champion I want to put Graves, because I also started an unranked to master series with Graves. I think Graves, if you're able to get damage, he just wants to have raw damage. Champion is pretty much unstoppable, because at 1.1 Q, 1 auto attack or 1 ult deals more than 1k damage, and he basically kills enemies faster than he dies. It's a challenge though to get ahead with Graves, so it's a pretty decent snowball champion. Very insane gold scaling champion. So if you have a strong early game team comp, where let's say Syndra mid lane, pretty strong early on already, and let's say Nautilus support or something, Graves can be really good, because most likely, because your team is stronger than the enemy, if you have a strong early game team comp, right? Then you're able to get your items with whom you're just gonna be unstoppable. So I'm gonna put the Graves at A tier, it's inconsistent that you're getting all your stuff done. I had a lot of games where I struggled, fell behind early, didn't get my items faster than enemy jungler. If you do find a way to be consistent on that, I don't see any reason why you shouldn't be climbing really, really well with Grace. Okay? Diana, especially in lower elo, very strong champion, one of the best AP champions in the game because she can farm so well and so fast. She has a very basic kit. Regardless, you need to learn when to jump in and when to not jump in because she has no real disengage. That's the only thing you need to really respect. Besides that, her full clear is absolutely amazing. Her scaling is absolutely amazing. Try to have Rabadons finished as fast as possible. I'm also going to rate the other AP champs because I like to go from AP to AP. Elise is S tier. Absolutely strong, great skirmish champion, great cheese champion. You can get first blood very often with Elise. You can find the early ganks very well. Also, when you have a good CC team comp, where you can gank early bot lane, for example. Absolutely great champion. Only thing I face, which is like hard on Elise, she's not an easy champion. She's hard to learn, hard to play in the beginning, also hard to master. Even great Elise players in higher elo struggle very hard in comparison to what Agorin or Kirei can do. Okay, just as an example. So even at mastering the champion, she's hard. So she's always hard, but very high profit in return, I would say. Like, you can win so many games with her if you become good. Like, Agorin is a great example. Like, he plays her always when she's strong, and then he has a very high win rate just because of that. Lillia is not as strong as Diana and not as strong as Elise. She is very fine to play, consistently fine throughout many patches. Regardless, I would prefer having Diana or Elise on the team just because I also think that Diana's a little bit faster and Elise is a little bit more scary. Elise you need to respect more than you need to respect Lillia in your games. Okay, Fiddlesticks is around B tier. I don't see him often. Also don't think he's that strong. Problem I face with Fiddlesticks is he needs to get his time. He can't really fight too well early. He needs to get his camps done. He can be a big threat, especially in the mid game when he has like 1 or 2 items and finds good gold old angles. Great one-trick pony champion. I think Elise is a great one-trick pony champion, by the way. Fiddlesticks is a great one-trick pony champion. Xin and Skarner are both champions. I would recommend to play it like 70% of your games if you want to play them a lot. Do not one-trick pony both of them. Especially Xin is not a great one-trick pony champion. Great one-trick pony champion to get his champion mastery done very well and get his mechanics done very well and learn the champion perfectly. But in terms of when he's good in a game or not, I wouldn't recommend to pick him always, because if you do play against a team comp like tanks, like Dr. Mundo, for example, it's really hard to deal with him because he just stat checks you. He will never die against you. Same with Skarner. Like if you play Lee Sin against Skarner, you're gonna have a really hard time, right? Okay, Dr. Mundo, very fine champion. Would rate him E tier, rather on the weaker would rate him E tier, more in the weaker A tier, because he's very fast and is clear. His ganks are not that strong. He can take objectives very well. Also think he fits very well in the new season. That's why he's A tier. He's probably next to Lillia. Great special pocket pick, okay? If the enemies are playing champions that don't have good DPS and mainly just a little bit of burst. Okay, Viego, the next Z tier champion. Absolutely broken still. Also great in the new season. Very hard to master as well. Also hard to pick up, especially if you're a beginner of League, because you pick up all the souls, right? But I'm also gonna make an unranked to master series with Viego very soon, so you can check that one out and just learn with that pretty easily, I would say. Because I think when you played a decent amount of Viego, actually when I said I might have said that he's hard to master, but if you played a decent amount of Viego, his clears and the way how you fight in general with W auto attack, Q auto attack, reset, kite out with your E, it gets very easy because you just get used to it, right? Let's take the next champion. So we have Amumu now. Amumu is around B tier and lower elo. He gets stronger. Don't think he's too good. You are kind of in need of hitting at least Q. And if you walk up at them and just hold and then wait and then Q them afterwards, they're just other champions that can do the same just faster. I do think he's stronger than Sejuani. Sejuani is almost at the same level here than Amumu. But I just think that they're stronger picks. I mean, we'll get to it soonish, but in games where Amumu is great, I think other champions would fit perfectly well. Like, we take Skarner as an example. Like, Skarner is just way, way better than Amumu. He can tank more. His CC change is just better. His DPS, like his burst, his entire kit, it's just way more damage as well than Amumu. And like, if you ever want to pick Amumu, it's okay, but I just do think that other champions can just do way more. You will also notice this in general on tier lists I make, and also the lower I go with B, C, D tier. The champions, like tankier, other champions just do the same, just better. I mean, there are so many champions in the game, and at one point it's just about how much damage, how much can you tank, how much can you provide for your team. It's all up to those questions, right? And if a champion provides this better than another, then he's just straight up better, right? Xin Zhao, underrated. I think Xin Zhao's A tier, probably even better than Lillia, not as good as Diana, so I will put him here in the middle. Just know what to build at which situation. Titanic Hydra is important, Sandra Sky is important, sometimes Black Cleaver. It depends really on the situation what you need. I think Eclipses in a lot of situations are bait item. Titanic Hydra auto attack reset is really, really strong on Xin Zhao. In some games, which is a special pick I even go Kraken Slayer as first item, and then I go Titanic or Sandra Sky, which you can try in your games. You will figure it out. Warwick, very cool champion, was absolutely broken. Nerfed pretty hard, still really strong and underrated. He's 80, is even better than Xin Zhao. He's a little bit worse than Graves and Diana. Would recommend to pick him up. I would play him a lot if I was just playing for fun and nothing else, not for educational reasons or anything. I would legit spam Warwick because he's so fun running down people. Kayn, sadly, blue Kayn is shit. Red Kayn is totally fine. Because of Red Kayn, we can put him on A tier. Blue Kayn would be around C tier. Yeah, it's that simple. He just needs a little bit of a buff. Red Kayn is a little bit too squishy. Blue Kayn doesn't deal too much damage, is extremely squishy. And that's it. That's that simple, right? He just needs a tiny bit of a buff, and then he will be one of the strongest junglers again, pretty quickly. Karthus is also absolutely strong right now, because his clear is one of the fastest in the entire game. He wants to play for the grubbies. He can play for the dragons. Usually he's better in skirmishes because he's always slightly ahead than enemy jungler and can fight skirmishes. And especially with the feats of strength, I think Karthus is very good at getting feats of strength. I would also be very interested in a stats from Riot Games personally, seeing which junglers are more likely gonna get feats of strength and which doesn't. I think Karthus would be pretty much up here. I think he was around A tier before I would rate him, but now he's already S tier. If you do pick up Karthus, you need to know really well what you need to do, and your pathing needs to be very, like, not only strict but also consistent. You need to always know what to do. You're not allowed to waste a singular second, otherwise other junglers become better. You need to be extremely quick. You have insane damage, you have no CC, you're very squishy yourself, so you need to be quick on everything you do so you get an advantage, and you're never gonna fall back on that advantage. Okay, Gwen, great special pick. Same with Dr. Mundo. I don't think she's a good jungler, by the way. I've seen a lot of people wanting me to play Gwen jungle, and I think she's okay-ish, but I don't think she's a good jungler, but she is a great counter pick. So if you love playing Gwen, then find the counter picks where she's extraordinarily strong at, or generally enemy team comps, or let's say if she fits perfectly in your team comp. And then she can go from Z tier all the way up to A+, S-, around that. Like S-, probably not, no, probably A tier, A+. But if you just pick her just like that, I think she's around Z tier. Even Mordekaiser is better than her. Mordekaiser is, I've seen his win rate's gone pretty skyrocket in the jungle. I would rate him actually around A tier. Like, I think he's pretty underrated. Especially in lower elo, I would recommend to pick up Mordekaiser. Focus on your full clear. You're shit at ganking, don't even try. Try to get the first grubbies in. He's really good at clearing these grubbies, these free grubbies, if you're getting top line priority. At the moment you have ult, you just walk to a lane. You could also flash ult straight up, get a consistent kill, because enemies can't survive if you just flash ult on them, right? And then you go back to jungling. So what your goal is that you're even slightly ahead on enemy jungler in XP and gold. and with ult, find catches, and in the mid-late game, it's gonna be very easy to win fights because Mordekaiser, his ult will enable you and your entire team to be in positions you usually shouldn't be allowed to be in. I would just phrase it like this. You can do with this information what you want to do, okay? Zyra, also pretty underrated. I would put her, she's not S tier. She's not as strong as Karthus, but she's probably one of the best AP champions you can possibly pick, and also better than Diana, just because she's so quick, so quick, and also is so strong at sieging with the enemy, sieging with your team. So when you are even to slightly ahead, team-wise, she's really good at keep sieging, and it's hard to stop her because you can only engage her or not engage her. Poking her is not really that easy because she is ranged, and does have some decent distance. At the moment you engage her, there are all these plans, her ult, whatever, so you need to all-in her and kill her. Let's say you're Jarvan, right? And that's not always that easy, okay? And Jarvan is I think very fine to play. Like when you get 2 items, he also scale. People complain about the scaling a lot, by the way, but I think his scaling is okay-ish. Great in some team comps when you have like champions like Jinx, when the enemies have champions like Jhin, where they can't disengage from your ult. When they have champions like Victor, Jarvan is absolutely fine to play. Great situational pick. If you love him, you can play him like 60-70% of your games. Wouldn't recommend 100%. Wouldn't recommend to one trick pony. I think I would even put him on. Like, I think he's totally fine to play. I also love playing him myself, but I have to say that other champions like Xin Zhao, probably Graves, Elise, Viego, they are all better than Jarvan. That's also why I don't play him so often myself, because if I have a game where I'm like, okay, I don't want to play Bel'Veth here, I don't want to play Yi here, then usually I just go for Xin Zhao or Viego, right? I just prefer that more. I could even play Lee Sin now. After my Unranked to Master Series, I learned Lee Sin so well, I wouldn't mind picking him. I'm not on Broxa level. He's the GOAT, right, on Lee Sin, but I can play him pretty decently. Like, and it's better than Jarvan. No. Bel'Veth, love the champion. It's one of my most favorite champions throughout all champions in the entire game. I hated her. You might hate her crazy, but if you would play her and learn her, you would love her too. I'm pretty sure, okay? Just saying. I put her in 80. I think she's not. I think she's around the same as like Mordekaiser. Isn't that strong? So I'll put her above Mordekaiser, probably even above Kayn. She's not stronger than Dr. Mundo or Lillia. She fits here perfectly in the middle here. Insane potential. Now, this is one thing I want to say to all the Bel'Veth players real quick. She is terrible playing from behind, insane playing from Snowball, and the season in general is great playing in while you're ahead, terrible playing from behind. That's why early game champions are in general a little bit stronger right now. And on Bel'Veth, that is X10. That means if you fall behind in the game and in Bel'Veth, it's so hard to win. And if you get ahead on Bel'Veth and you're ahead in the game just gets really easy now for Bel'Veth players. Okay, so maybe find early game cheeses. If I play Bel'Veth, I would actually go for lots of late invades, enemy chickens, enemy wolves, maybe find the enemy jungler on wrap up. Just an idea for you. My idea in general with my coaching, with all the things I explain, is not to tell you do this, do that, do this. You're smart yourself. I don't need to tell you how to eat your salad, right? But I'm gonna give you thoughts and ideas with what you can pick up and be like, maybe I can cook with this idea. Okay, so you can cook yourself with Bel'Veth invades. Master Yi, finally, my beloved Master Yi. My favorite champion in the entire game is not Z tier. He's not S tier, but he's A tier. He's better than before, better than last season. I'm very certain. He's not weak in fighting these skirmishes. He's especially strong in having numbers advantage, like at least 1 or 2 more in your team. He's fine with his ult. When he's played from King, you can usually contest objectives pretty decently. So I think he is at the same level as Lillia, around there. Next to Xin Zhao. I think he's a bit worse than Xin Zhao, and I think Master Yi is in a very fine position, and I'm really looking forward to be spamming a lot of Master Yi and also the other champions I love playing on solo queue. I want to just point this out really quick. If you're like thinking about starting playing League again, or you're like just sometimes playing, for me this new season is a lot of fun. I love it the way it is, and I'm really looking forward to all the games I'm going to be playing throughout this entire year even. Not even this split or season or whatever Riot Games is cooking right now, but I just love the game, okay? Sylas, same with Gwen. I'll put her in the same position. Great situational pick. Let's say the enemies pick something like Malefice, right? If they play Malefice, Sylas jungle, fine. I have a coaching client who goes Sylas jungle. I think it's cooking and it's cool. It's just cooking, right? It's just preparing your own meal, doing something really spicy, you know, that's Sylas jungle, okay? The only problem with Sylas jungle is ganking is not that strong, and his clearing is also not that strong. So these are the two most important things for jungle. Like, why is Viego Z tier? Because his ganking is really good. His farming is extremely good. There's one more important reason on Viego is that he is playing with resets. Every champion with resets in solo queue is generally speaking already better than others that don't, right? Sylas though is fantastic in the right team comps where you need AP, where enemy ults are crazy good to steal. Then he can just be better than Diana because he just has then more tools than Diana, you know? Okay, Mollis is telling me to put Karthus in Z tier. I'm not gonna put him in Z tier. I'm gonna leave him in S tier. I just want to point out here, like, Mollis is one of the best Karthus players in the entire world. Like, if he is saying he's Z tier, maybe his Karthus is Z tier, right? But like, one trick ponies have it's very hard for them to judge their champion in a specific position. Like, I also rate Musty maybe a little bit higher than he is. I wouldn't say so though. My opinion is he belongs here 100%. Because for us that play this champion at a very high level, we don't do the weak parts. We don't play for the weak parts. We only play for the strengths, and then it makes the champion look also really, really strong. Okay, Gragas, next champion. Also great situational champion. I put him on B tier. Is for sure worse than Jarvan. And Jarvan, by the way, is better than all of these. So Jarvan is for sure here in the top left on B tier. Situational champions. Does deal damage, is fine to play, it's just better on top lane though. Like, Gragas is just a top lane champion. You don't want to be too far behind in XP. You don't want to be level down, because otherwise you just get too squishy. And the moment Gragas' E is out, you want to, on top lane, kite out, play with Phase Rush, play it slow, play it chill, right? You can't do that in jungle, because if you have 3 levels down in comparison to what you would be in top lane, you don't survive kiting out and playing slow, you know? Because if you're 3 levels down, enemy Nocturne gets hit by your E maybe, but then you're already dead, right? That puts me instantly to Nocturne. I think Nocturne is a great champion. The lower elo you go, the better he gets. Actually, even in high elo, he's totally fine to play. I think he's even better than Zyra. Or actually, let's put him a little bit... Yeah, let's put him better than Zyra, I think. He fits here pretty well. What is the problem with Nocturne? The problem with Nocturne is that his early ganking is not that good. He needs to get his level 6. His clear is very good. Once he's level 6, he can become really strong. Once he has his first and second power spike item finished, his ults become a big threat. My recommendation is to try, the moment you have ults up, to immediately use your ults. If you can, if you find a good play, if you find a kill, right? So your ult is on cooldown, so you're basically allowed to go farming while your ult is getting back up. While that happens and you got a kill for your ADC, for example, your ADC already used this snowball position to get further ahead while you're farming because your ult is used. So you basically try to be efficient. My beloved Brand, I mean, he's not beloved, but I think he's totally fine to play. Very similar than Zyra and Diana. His clears really, really good. His ganking setup is good. I just believe that other champions are a little bit quicker or better than with him, and he's also pretty squishy and doesn't have any disengage potential. Ekko is pretty similar, worse than Brand in gang. I think he's even than Brand in ganking, even than Brand worse than Brand in farming, but he has a way better disengage. His late game is better, Brand's mid game is better, but they are almost similar. I think Ekko is weaker than the Brand though. And of course better than Mordekaiser. Mordekaiser should be on the least A tier. I honestly think Mordekaiser is very similar than Jarvan, but this is mainly then for lower elos, right? Okay, Neeko, absolutely totally fine to play still. Next, I would put him a little bit better than Gragas, a little bit better than the Sejuani. Next to Amumu fits totally well, okay. Kindred, nice pick. I haven't seen her this season yet, so I can't judge her too well. I do think she is better than Mordekaiser, not better than Ekko. Great snowball position, great champion to snowball. You need to know Kindred pretty well. You need to know how to play with marks. It might get a little bit complicated having all these objectives and marks you want to fight for. I think in team comps where you have great support, where you have great bot lane that can get priorities, where you can siege with them, you can fight with them, you can fight your crabs, you can fight the enemy jungle, then she's great into. In team comps where you just don't have lane priorities, she's just extremely weak, I would say. That's my opinion on her right now. Briar is just shit. Don't play her. I don't like this champion. I love this champion actually to play. I played it when she came out, but she's just not strong. If you press W, you just fucked yourself. Okay? They're just champions that are just better, right? So she's not D tier though. She's Z tier. She's worse than Sylas for sure. Poppy, great situational pick at the same level as Jarvan, no doubt. Morgana, I'm gonna put her on next to Gragas. Also fine to play. I made a Morgana video on YouTube playing her. She's very good at getting farm done. She's decent at getting objectives. She's fine playing for her team. But the only problem with Morgana is once you are not hitting your Qs, once you're not allowed to hit your Qs, she's just too slow in sieging, while others can get more. Like a Brand can throw his W, can throw his Q, right? Morgana throws her Q, and if that doesn't hit, she is doing nothing, basically. Rek'Sai. Also have not seen Rek'Sai yet. Do have to say that she is okay-ish, but she clears the objectives too slow. She wants to go for grubbies, which is okay. But I just think after her burst, she has nothing anymore, right? She has one burst, one CC chain burst, and that's not enough to 100 to 0 someone usually. And then they already found usually a disengage, especially in this season. They can just disengage somehow, right? Because there's so much mobility, which kind of probably is one of the biggest weaknesses Rek'Sai has to face. That there's just good disengage against Rek'Sai. Okay, Yorick is not in here, but I'm just gonna say real quick because you asked about Yorick. Yorick is a fantastic situational pick. A good pick against Viego, by the way. And for sure fine in the jungle. He is at the same level as Jarvan and Poppy. Olaf is just again a fine situational pick against champions that don't have a jump. Let's say Sejuani. Let's say Ivern even potentially. Champions that can't disengage, where Olaf can just run down. He's a great situational pick, but he's not a great jungler. He's at the same level as Briar, a tiny bit better. A tiny bit better than Sylas too, I would say. Okay, Jax. I haven't put yet. Jax is a fine counter pick against Master Yi, for example. Not a great jungler, way better off on top lane, and I also think they're, in general, again, better junglers than Jax. Kha'Zix is worse than Kindred, better than Mordekaiser in the jungle. It looks so weird having Mordekaiser on 8 here, but I legit believe he's stronger. And I will probably get flamed for this, but I legit think he belongs here. Like, people just need to learn him, and I will find a way to showcase how to play this as well. Okay, but Kha'Zix, fantastic champion. Just make sure you're not dying on Kha'Zix. More important than on some other champions. And then you will be always even in CS, and within time, you will always have enough damage to be a problem for the enemies. Let me get to Rammus, a shit champion. This is just a shit champion. There's one high-elo Rammus player, King Hammer he's called. I played against him. And his enemy team flamed him. Not even him. They flamed his champion. He's like, why do I have to play with a Rammus that can't do anything? Like not flaming the player. Because the player is good, right? They're flaming the champion. Because Rammus is so designed in only one way. He goes in, he eats the enemies with Thorn Mail, and that's it, right? If Rammus plays against a champion like Syndra, and Syndra has some fine peel, he's just useless, right? He never gets to the Syndra. Syndra will always be still enabled to get to the enemy carries. Whilst another German champion, we take Skarner again here as an example. Even Dr. Mundo, Warwick, they all are some sort of a threat for the Syndra, you know? And the problem with Rammus is that these mid laner AP carries are enabled because there is no threat in terms of enemy jungler. Master Yi is a threat, Xin Zhao is a threat. These are all threats for Syndra. On Rammus, Syndra cares a little bit less. Like, she just needs to respect sometimes his Q, and that's it. Okay, Talia, wonderful champion to play. much fun to play, for sure better than Mordekaiser. I actually don't want to put Jarvan. I want to put Jarvan a little bit higher when I rethink this. Poppy's situational does fit there because Jarvan doesn't belong here on the bottom, since he's a really fine jungler, right? But he's around here, okay. And Talia is just better than Mordekaiser. Her setup is 10 times better. She wants to be picked with CC support, not with peel support. Very important here too. And against the right team, because playing against the Bel'Veth, Talia is good. Playing against Graves, Talia is good. Everything that needs to get this jump through, right? Against Kayn, she is not that good, but he needs to go red Kayn most situations anyway, so I think you got my point. Trundle is not a good jungler. I think he is at the same level as Rammus. I actually rather want to play Briar than Rammus. That's how weak Rammus is. Udyr is, I think in the new season, stronger than he was. I think he is 8 tier. He is next to, I think, Diana. Still underrated. His nerf hit him really hard last season. Regardless, I think the Swift March, that is T3 from Boots, so Swift Swifties upgraded to Swift March if you win feats of strength. That's just absolutely disgusting on Udyr. Okay, just saying. Okay, and in general, all the other boots are also really, really good on Udyr, right? Rumble, situational pick, not as good in the jungle. I think I'm putting him on Z tier here. Is there even anything D tier? I think even Teemo is Z tier. Teemo is around the same level as Briar, right? Teemo can even be better. I think Teemo is better than Olaf. Sylas is better than Olaf. I think this fits pretty well. Is there anything? Okay, Nafari is D tier. Nafari is not a champion, and Evelyn is also so weak. She still needs a buff. She's at the same level as Briar, which is making me laugh, because Evelyn was always such a big problem, and right now she's just not picked up just because she can't do her stuff, right? She is too slow. She doesn't deal enough damage. Just play other champions than Evelyn. If you're an Evelyn one-trick pony, wait for the buffs. They will come, but we have to wait. There's one Shaco one-trick in high elo, also from the same place where I live, by the way. He said that he's going tank Shaco because Assassin Shaco is just shit in comparison, which I think is pretty funny. But in lower elo, he's fine to play. So I'm going to still put him in a decent spot here next to Evelyn, because in lower elo, he's totally fine to play. And he can also be B tier. And if you're Shaco one trick, you are fine. You can climb. This Shaco player who got played tank Shaco also climbed to challenger elo with it, right? 1000 LP plus, like it is all doable, but he is not the best. Like you can also put him in B tier, A-, also fine, but I think he belongs perfectly next to Evelyn, right? Wukong! Oh, I hate this champion, it's broken! I've checked 2 days ago how the people are climbing in early season, okay? Rank 1, plays Udyr. Rank 2, plays Udyr. Argorin plays Udyr, who was rank 1 end of season 14. Okay, so I have seen it. I'm considering myself to play it because it's so strong, even though I hate the champion. I actually enjoy the champion, but I hate playing against it extremely hard. Why? Why do I hate it and why it's broken? It's the same reason. Because he can E auto attack Q, ult. You're stunned and already half HP. Then W auto attack Q, you're already dead, ult. Second stun, that's all chain CC stun and the entire team, not just one, by the way. Then auto attack Q one more time, so you already lost 150% of your HP. You said Udyr, okay, I'm sorry, I didn't want to say Udyr. I'm talking about Wukong, okay? I'm talking about Wukong, not Udyr. I sometimes say the wrong name, I'm sorry for that, okay? Okay, but Wukong, I will say it again so it's clear. Wukong already dealt 150% of your entire HP bar while chain CCing, while being in stealth, while having a disengage possibility, while getting movement speed from the ult, and you can also save your W just to disengage, so you're always fine, and you can go over walls with the W, and you have an insane base damage. I can go on forever. So that's the problem with Wukong, is his ult. I think if his ult gets changed or weakened out a little bit, he would be a very fine jungler, or general fine. But his problem was his clear is too slow. That's not a big problem for Wukong. His clear is completely fine right now. And this ult ability just makes the champion too strong with W ult again, right? That's a big problem. Big advice for Wukong players here. don't WEQ ult the enemy. Do rather walk, if you can't reach them, maybe even flash, into E auto Q ult, so you still have W into auto Q ult, okay? Think about it, my friends. Next champion. Nunu. This is just shit. This champion is just shit. It's just shit. Straight up. Like, I'm sorry, this champion is outdated. Like, his snowball is too slow, his E is too slow. Like, he is fine, but he's okay in the jungle. Like, he's not garbage, but he's shit in comparison to others. Wouldn't recommend to pick him up. Wouldn't recommend to learn him. Wouldn't recommend to touch this thing until it gets changed faster or anything like that. As they changed multiple champions already, just being faster. Like, he needs to get an update on where he's just quick on the things he do. He can still be fine because of his Q. You can steal objectives extremely well. You can take early dragons. You can be an annoying piggy permanently ganking enemy bot lane with bot scuttle. But the champion is legit just worse than Rammus. I think Nunu can potentially be a fine jungler if you like one-trick pony him. Great one-trick pony champion, by the way, at a certain level. But I would not recommend it. I can check his win rate real quick. So I'm not speaking this here right now because I didn't see him, so I'm gonna check for you guys real quick. Nunu has a 49-50% win rate for all elos, which also explains his kind of shit, but okay. Like, he's, as I said, not full garbage, so like, Z tier is not full garbage. D tier is absolute full garbage. Z tier is potential counter pick, potentially good, but shit in comparison to other champions, what they can do. B is already fine, decent counter pick. A is already pretty strong, for sure playable. S is, you should play it, it's legit just strong. And Z tier is, you are completely stupid if you're not abusing this disgusting shit. Okay, this is the tier list, okay? Let's continue. Talon. Chaos Dancer, the best Talon player on the entire EU West server. Almost hit rank 1 again with Talon. Was always annoying to play him. I can't wait until I play Talon. Maybe unranked to Masters with Talon. Fantastic clear. So extremely quick. The goal you should have with Talon is not to get like... You want to get sneaky picks in and all of this, like, that's amazing. You don't want to have like numbers of fights. You don't want to fight in even numbers. Even with Talon, you want to find a way how the enemies don't feel you and you're constantly invading the enemy jungle free camps. What does that mean? You're even with the enemy junglers, yes, and once the jungler ganks bot lane once, where his top side is up, for example, and you take his chicken, scrap off and Crux, then reset and full clear yours, you're so far ahead, and you have the enemy camps on respawn timer, and then you kind of like, you're like a parasite who constantly takes his jungle on spawn, and there's nothing they can do, which makes his champion B to A tier, okay? Like, Chaos Dancer makes his champ S tier even. I'm legit annoyed playing against his Talon. I think he's A tier, but because of because people really struggle on knowing how to play him well, I'm gonna put him next to Poppy here. Okay, so that's how I would rate him in general, okay? Zac jungle. Z tier, they're just better champions, like Skarner again. Skarner's better, Dr. Mundo's better. His CC chain is unique though, which makes him again B tier. I will probably put him on Z plus, better than Gwen. But again, I think even Sejuani is not better than Zac, right? I think he's even with Sejuani. Like, I can't put Zac worse than Sejuani. He's probably a tiny bit better. But I think you see the rate on where Zac belongs to, okay? Zed is also not a good jungler. I think I put him here, and Nunu's a tiny bit better. I think I put Nunu on better than Trundle for sure. Yeah, Trundle is worse. Yeah, this is now really accurate already. Shen is not a good jungler. I'll put him DT. I think they're just better junglers. His ult is fine, but you can do that from top lane. Wouldn't recommend. Volibear, completely fine. Nice pocket pick. I would even say he's B tier. Absolutely fine to play. Isn't very popular, but absolutely fine to play. Vi, B tier 2. I think Volibear is better than Vi. Again, can be potentially very strong. There's like Skumon, for example, plays a really good Vi, very annoying to deal with, but that comes with all champion. Like, in general, I always explain it. If you learn one champion to the maximum extent, like, you can climb to challenger with any champion, you can climb to rank 1 with any champion, you can make anything look absolutely extremely broken. Like, I could pick up Gwen and climb to challenger and make people think, holy shit, is Gwen the new meta? But that doesn't define everything, right? That doesn't define the champion fully. And Skumon, for example, he is one of the greatest solo queue jungler ever. Like, of course, Vi is gonna look broken on him, but I don't think Vi is that broken. Okay, I think she's around B tier. Okay, Qiyana, also not a great jungler. She's also just better off on mid lane. She is kind of like I don't see the reason for her to play her jungle. Like Talon jungle is just better than Qiyana jungle. Xin Zhao is doing the same as Qiyana, just better. She's slow at taking objectives. I don't see a reason to play her, right? Shyvana is also pretty weak, needs to get a buff too. Bit better than Nunu, but at the same level as Nunu. Also think pretty shit. And Pantheon also is a... Yeah, I mean, Pantheon is better in, like, he's fine in the jungle, better in the jungle in comparison to top lane, in comparison to other champions. Like, it's Qiyana needs to be mid and she can't go jungle, right? Pantheon can go at least in the jungle and be fine off. And Spear should also prove that you can get Challenger with him. So I think he is here next to Olaf, next to Briar. I think he fits up pretty well because Evelynn and Shaco are still better, right? When is Poppy good? Just real quick. Poppy is fantastic against, for example, Bel'Veth because she can't dash. Champions that generally speaking need to dash but can't. Jarvan. Poppy is fantastic pick. If enemies pick Riven top lane, you can even consider Poppy jungle, right? Simply Sin, you can go Poppy. Like, that's what I mean with counter pick. And if you can play her well, you can consistently pick her into these drafts, right? Ivern jungle, fine champion, same level as Vi. Completely fine right now. Also love to play, want to play Ivern myself in the next time, okay? Rengar is on the right hands broken. Like on Nadinet's hands, his clear is just too quick. Similar to Talon, I would say a little bit better. Pick Rengar when you know how to be extremely efficient and effective, and then the entire champion becomes broken and easy to play as well. By the way, just for information. Nidalee, she faced also some better times. She's at the same level as Zac. Fine to play, can make her look broken, but she's a little bit too slow. Does still a little bit too like her damage is a little bit too low. Regardless, if you know how to cheese very well, enemy jungle, invade consistently, you do hit your spears, she can be a big threat too, I would say. Maokai is just worse than Sejuani, worse than Zac. These are just better junglers, but he is okay. He's okay-ish, but probably around, yeah. Next, he's better than Ivern for sure, of course, but he's not extremely strong, right? And Hecarim, the last champion we're gonna rate, is worse than Maokai, worse than Ivern. I think that a champion like Udyr is better than Hecarim straight up, doing the exact same. Hecarim is still squishy, doesn't deal the most insane damage, and keep in mind, like, if he has his Q stacked and he's in the middle of the fight getting a good ult in and Q, he can be annoying piggy, right? Of course, every champion has their specific strength, their unique style of becoming broken in a game, right? But, and that's the big but for Hecarim, he still gets one-shot by the enemy team on the right situation. Like, he goes in, Nautilus ults him, after Nautilus ult already changes it, Nautilus Q, Nautilus auto-attack. Corki did QE ult, Hecarim is at 25% HP left. Like, where's the problem on Hecarim now? Whilst you can't do that easily on a Skarner, you can't do that easily on a Wukong. You ult a Wukong, he has many ways to play this. He can E-ult immediately the Nautilus, he can do nothing and W after the Nautilus ult, right? Because if on 25% HP, Hecarim is dead, but Wukong can still ult twice and W. He can W immediately and try to get closer to his team with distance, right? There's a few things. Okay, let's check the Hecarim's win rate real quick. I mean, in low elo, you could potentially, even in low elo, like he's Z tier in gold, S tier in Emerald, B tier in Master going up. Yeah, as I said, like, he can't, like, every single champion in this tier. There's some people who say, yeah, but why do you rate Kayn so low? Kayn is so annoying. Or why do you say Kayn, like, Hecarim is so weak? B tier is not weak, B tier is fine. And every single champion, even Olaf jungle, can be made too maximum brokenness if played correctly. That's always the sentence I make. If you play a champion well, the champion becomes a monster. Same with Master Yi. Master Yi is A tier, but he would be S tier without a problem if you play him consistently well, avoiding his mistakes, making his strengths become closer. This tier list showcases the general strengths of a champion on the average player. An average Hecarim is not a problem. A one-trick pony Hecarim who mastered his craft, same with Master Yi, that is a problem. And with that, I take you on your way. Hope you enjoyed this tier list. Wish you a wonderful remaining day and much love, guys. Take care.